Greetings. Have you ever known someone who seemed to be allergic to incense or who gets headaches when incense is burned? It might not be that person. Instead, it just might be your choice of incense that causes those problems. Today we're going to look at what's in the incense most people buy, how synthetic incense is different from natural incense, and the potentially dangerous ingredients found in some commercial incense. All of that and more is coming up in this episode of Incense Magick. There are two fundamentally different kinds of incense in the world. Natural incense, which is made from woods, gums, and plants that are found in nature, and synthetic incense, which is made using incense blanks and scented oils that were created in a laboratory. The second type of incense is often called dipped incense because the sticks or cones are literally dipped or soaked in oils to scent them. Both types of incense can have a place on your incense shelf, but you need to be aware of the differences and especially be an informed consumer. So before we get started, a little lesson in terminology. When talking about synthetic incense, there are three components that you need to know. A blank is a wood powder combined with glue and shaped into incense sticks or cones. They're called blanks because they haven't been scented yet. The term oil in the synthetic incense world means artificially created fragrance or scented oils that are designed to fool your nose into thinking that it's smelling something that it's not. Finally, there are extenders. These are unscented oils added to the fragrance oils during the manufacturing process. Let's talk about these extenders first. Not all dipped incense makers use extenders, but many do. Even incense makers who don't intend to use extenders might purchase fragrance oils that already contain an extender and they won't even know it. The most popular extender for incense dippers is called dipropylene glycol, but most incense dippers just call it DPG. DPG has a lot of industrial applications and it's very safe when used as intended. It's found in deodorants, soaps, and skincare products, and it's used in a lot of different industries. The issue isn't DPG itself, but its use in incense. And see, DPG was not designed to be burned. When I was first told about this years ago, I defended the use of DPG and immediately went to gather proof that DPG was safe in incense. The first place that I looked was the Material Safety Data Sheet, or MSDS, which is a government-mandated document that tells you about the health and environmental impact of a chemical. At the very top of that first MSDS I read for DPG, it said, "Releases poisonous gas when burned." Huh? Who would add something to incense that even has the potential of creating poison gas? Why does this even happen? The answer is easy. Money. I started out as an incense dipper and used to teach others how to do it, and I can tell you that DPG makes a big difference to your profit margin. You see, DPG is a lot less expensive than fragrance oils. Most fragrance oils are very, very strong. Just a few drops of them can scent an entire bottle of shampoo, so incense dippers can add DPG to those expensive fragrance oils that are double or triple the amount of incense they can make while only raising their cost a tiny bit, so the profit margin goes way up. DPG does help incense dippers to make more money. Over the decades, I've heard a lot of creative explanations as to why incense dippers use DPG. It helps to disperse the scent, or it preserves the top notes, or it prolongs shelf life. All of that is beside the point, and probably none of it's true anyway. The bottom line for DPG is the bottom line of the incense dipper's bank account. You have to understand that incense is an unregulated industry. There's no government agency limiting which oils an incense dipper can use or testing commercial incense for safety. Most people who make synthetic incense have no idea about these problems, and I definitely don't want to imply that anyone is doing these things to intentionally harm people. They just don't know any better. Most incense dippers work on a small scale as a way to boost their income at their shop or maybe their vendor booth. One would hope that larger incense manufacturers take safety seriously and vigorously test their test their products for safety. Let's hope they don't taste them. But there's no regulatory mandate that requires them to do that. So how did I come to learn about this and change my business from making and selling synthetic incense to making and selling natural incense? Well, I had a number of teachers along the way, but I think the real credit for uncovering these and other problems in the incense industry has to go to a gentleman named David Aller. As an indoor air quality professional, he conducted the groundbreaking research that uncovered these and other problems with synthetic incense. Now, as a scientist, he can explain these problems in far greater detail than I can, but there's no doubt that I would have remained ignorant about this without the information that he and his incense group called Alice's Restaurant shared with me many years ago. Thank you to everyone there, especially Mr. Aller. So we talked a bit about extenders, but there are still two other components to synthetic incense. The blank presents a similar problem to the extender. Incense blanks are wood powder and a type of glue formed into the desired shape. When I describe them like that, they sound like products made very much the way that natural incense is made. The issue here is in the ingredients. In theory, you could make a high-quality incense blank using sandalwood and a natural binder. It'd be expensive, though. Sadly, that isn't how commercial blanks are made. If you enjoy shooting off fireworks, then you might have thought at one time, gee, incense sticks and fireworks punks look a lot alike. Fireworks punks are used to light the fuses on fireworks. Now, there's a reason for that, and that's because they're made by the same companies. In fact, many times incense blanks imported into America are labeled as fireworks. When I sold materials for making dipped incense, the sticks I sold were often purchased directly from fireworks warehouses. That gives you a good idea of the care and quality that goes into blanks. Now, some blanks are even made with waste wood materials, such as from plywood factories. When David Aller tested such incense blanks, he found that they released significant amounts of formaldehyde when burned. That's a common result when burning wood that's been cut from plywood. The plywood is glued together in sheets, and the glue that's used in this process is definitely not intended to be burned for this very reason. But enterprising entrepreneurs have found this waste product, the sawdust left over from this manufacturing, and they've put it to use in some incense. Maybe the incense you're burning right this minute. The sad truth is you'll never know what's in the incense blanks that were used to make synthetic incense. There's just no way to tell by looking if the blanks used to make your incense were crafted by someone who cared, or if they were literally garbage that was glued together and sold to you. And finally, there's the oil itself. Most fragrance oils aren't designed to be burned. There are some exceptions to this, as there are oils made for use with candles, but candles use a couple of drops of oil for a large candle, while a single stick of dipped incense may contain hundreds of times as much oil, even though it's much thinner. It's the thickness of the wick of the candle. Have you ever smelled incense in a store and it smelled great, but when you got it home and lit it, it smelled like your house was on fire? That's probably because the fragrance oil was not designed to be burned. Now, there is some evidence that certain fragrance oils like musk and banana from certain manufacturers actually create more dangerous fumes than just these. These fragrance oils are generally very safe when they're used as intended, but most were never intended to be used for incense. Wow, that's quite a list of issues. Fragrance oils aren't meant to be used for incense. Blanks may contain dangerous ingredients, and extenders are unsafe to burn. All of that adds up to be a giant caution flag. If you've ever had a friend tell you that she's allergic to incense, there's a fair chance that she's actually reacting to the chemical chaos that is many brands of dipped incense. Some people have allergic reactions to any form of smoke or particulate matter in the air, but many people who think they're allergic to incense are having a healthy, normal reaction to these dangerous materials. The good news is there are companies out there producing high-quality, natural incense. Japanese companies like Shoeido and Baiedo have been making natural incense for hundreds of years. Here in the USA, incense pioneer Fred Saul has produced a line of natural incense for over a decade. Other American companies like Mermaid Arts and Juniper Ridge sell outstanding natural incense. And yes, I offer limited runs of all natural incense for sale myself on my websites. Even some small shops and online stores have been producing their own house blends of natural incense to sell rather than adding to the incense dipping market. I'm grateful for that. I know that all of this information might make it sound like all synthetic incense is evil and dangerous. That's not the case. Some of it seems to be perfectly harmless and a great choice to cover up the smell of burnt fish or a litter box that needs to be changed. The problem is you can't know the quality of synthetic incense by looking at it or even burning it in many cases. Every time you buy dipped incense, you are rolling the dice. You are gambling. The odds are that the person you buy the incense from won't have any idea of what's in the oils, the blanks, etc. I also don't want to give the impression that everything natural is good and safe and everything synthetic is evil and dangerous. That isn't true. Some things in nature are very dangerous and some synthetic things are beneficial without any danger. But when it comes to incense, I will say that overall, natural incense is unbelievably superior to the synthetic stuff. It's unlikely that there will ever be a natural incense version of Sex on the Beach or Strawberry Kiwi, but when it's time to choose incense for your meditation, your relaxation, or your spiritual journey, I hope that you'll look for natural incense. That's all we've got time for right now. I hope you'll go out and find some natural incense and give it a try. It's much more subtle than synthetic, so it might take your nose a while to adjust, but your incense journey will be much better for the effort. Thank you for watching Incense Magic. I've listed a number of website links for natural incense in this video's description, and I hope that you'll check out a few of them. Hopefully you've enjoyed this talk about synthetic incense, and I genuinely hope that you'll subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until next time, brightest blessings.